What if the very things you thought were sent to destroy you were actually shaping you? What if the delay wasn't denial, but discipline? What if the isolation wasn't punishment, but preparation? You've been interpreting pressure as rejection when it was training. You've been calling yourself late when the truth is you're loaded. Loaded with experience, loaded with resilience, loaded with wisdom you couldn't have learned any other way. Somewhere along the line, survival started masquerading as success. We learned how to cope, how to endure, how to stay busy, but not how to build. We normalized exhaustion. We normalized distraction. We normalized motion without progress. And then we wondered why fulfillment felt so far away. Average doesn't attack you loudly. Average doesn't threaten you. Average comforts you just enough to keep you from mastering anything, and you cannot rule what you refuse to master. Average is dangerous because it dulls hunger, it numbs urgency, it convinces you that being alive is the same as being aligned. Average keeps you rehearsing forever, planning forever, preparing forever, waiting for a permission slip that is never coming. But this isn't rehearsal anymore. This is deployment. You didn't survive all that just to talk about it later. You didn't make it through pain, loss, disappointment, betrayal, confusion, and silence just to become a storyteller with no execution. You survived to finish something. You survived to build something. You survived to execute an assignment that only you can carry. There comes a moment in life where you stop asking if it's your time and you start declaring it. Because moments don't wait for confidence. Opportunities don't reschedule themselves for comfort. Windows don't stay open for hesitation. If you miss them, they close. And the tragedy isn't failure. The tragedy is almost. Almost tried. Almost committed. Almost disciplined. Almost finished. You have cried long enough over confusion. You have bled long enough from borrowed dreams. You have spent enough energy chasing noise that promised comfort but stole clarity. Now is the season where tears turn into labor, where pain turns into productivity, where fatigue doesn't excuse you, it refines you. You might be hurting, but you still work. You might be tired, but you still build. You might be healing, but you don't halt. Because the things that matter most are rarely born in comfort. They are forged in quiet resolve. Greatness doesn't announce itself early. It grows in obscurity. It demands separation. It requires discipline. And discipline is what average negotiates away. Average people will applaud you when you stay small, not because you're excellent, but because you're safe. You don't challenge their comfort. You don't confront their excuses. But the moment you decide to be exceptional, resistance shows up. Because real calling disrupts rooms. Real purpose exposes stagnation. Real growth makes settled people uncomfortable. Some of you come from generations that started but never finished, generations that dreamed but never executed, generations that adapted instead of overcame, and now you feel the weight of that pattern on your shoulders. But patterns don't break themselves. They break when someone decides to finish what others abandoned. You are not disqualified, you are not forgotten, and you are not finished. Everything you endured was tuition. Every setback paid for clarity. Every delay built capacity. And now the question isn't whether you're capable. The question is whether you're willing to stop negotiating with your potential. Refuse to die with instructions still inside you. Refuse to reach the end of your life with unused faith. Refuse to explain why you played small when you were trained for pressure. You were not designed to live cautiously. You were trained to operate with conviction. This is not the season to gather more information. You already know enough. This is not the season to wait for applause. This is not the season to feel ready. This is the season of execution. Now. Not when it's convenient, not when it's celebrated. Now. At some point, you must shut the door on trivial pursuits and concentrate your strength. Depth will always outperform distraction. One focused assignment beats 1,000 scattered intentions. Decide whether you want an ordinary life filled with excuses or an exceptional life built on discipline, purpose, and follow-through. There are destinies attached to your decisions, not just yours, your family's, your community's. People who will never meet you are waiting on the discipline you keep postponing. The future is listening for a voice that refuses to be average. You didn't come this far to be comfortable. You didn't survive all of that to settle. And after everything you've been through, choosing average would be the greatest betrayal of all. There is a version of you that is tired of waiting. That version is done asking for permission. That version is done rehearsing. That version knows that life is not a game of attraction alone. It is a game of pursuit. You don't wait for destiny to find you. You hunt what belongs to you. If you want this year to look different, everything must change. Not your goals, your standards. Not your dreams, your habits. Not your vision, your execution. Because results don't respond to intention, they respond to action. Stop wearing the knockoff version of yourself. That's not who you are. The real you is demanding expression. The real you is tired of delay. The real you knows that fear of rejection and fear of failure are both weaker than the regret of never trying. You don't get to blame circumstances forever. At some point, responsibility becomes power. At some point, excuses expire. If something didn't work, it wasn't because the opportunity failed. It's because execution was incomplete. Own that. Then fix it. Ask yourself the real question. Will I repeat my history or will I blaze a new trail? Will I keep explaining why it's hard, or will I become the person who can handle hard things? Extraordinary people are not defined by talent alone. They are defined by grit, by resilience, by clarity of purpose. When pressure comes, they don't quit, they adapt. When setbacks hit, they don't collapse, they recalibrate. They see problems as training grounds, not stop signs. What separates the few from the many is hunger, not emotional hunger, disciplined hunger, the kind that shows up when motivation disappears, the kind that keeps learning, keeps sharpening, keeps moving forward when no one is watching. Legends are clear on their why. They know exactly what happens if they quit. They know what's at stake. They know that if they don't execute, something dies unfinished. The greatest version of you is not the one that does everything. It's the one that knows what to say no to. It's the one with boundaries, with parameters, with standards that don't bend under pressure. You don't bow to ordinary. You don't submit to comfort. You don't surrender to convenience. You have places to go, tables to sit at, work to finish, impact to make. And when you decide, fully decide, that average is no longer acceptable, something shifts. Your focus sharpens, your energy aligns, your days stop leaking, your effort compounds. This is your year to stop almost obeying, stop almost finishing, stop almost believing. This is your year to execute with faith, discipline, and relentless consistency. You are not late. You are not done, and you are not average. Now move.